Welcome to yet another edition of But That's Not Important Right Now, where we talk about the whys and wherefores with respect to advertising and God knows what else. My name is Jared Butts. And of course, joining us is the ever illustrious, even, did I say even Ian Reed? My God, live. Yeah, that's what it does to you. So we've both had backgrounds, respective backgrounds in advertising. Uh, we have. I was in advertising for like about close to a decade, but Ian's been in it for far longer than I have. I I was at one point a senior writer for a major ad agency, and so was Ian. But Ian was more into like he's I wouldn't call him he's a graphic artist, an excellent one at that. Yeah, so right now, I'm the host of a radio show called Platinum in the AM on Platinum Hits 103.5 FM, where we play a lot of adult contemporary music, and I get to make a complete fool of myself on a daily basis, and I get paid for it. So yeah, and there's that.
Right? Yeah, just so that people know, Jared and I have known each other from before.
Yeah.
We went to the greatest school on the planet to everybody else. Okay, that's Fatima College. We both went Fatima. That's the
Yes.
greatest school on the planet. Nobody can say no. Screw you, QRC people.
How the hell are them QRC people? They don't know anything. They don't know anything. Wait a
It's
minute.
all love. It's all love. It's all love. Yeah. Let's not go into that because people are gonna
Let's
be
not.
people. That's gonna trigger people. People are gonna say, "All right."
It's
So okay, so what we want to talk about today is we want to talk about Michael. Is it P or B? I always mix it up. Michael B.
it's
Jordan.
Michael B. B as in Michael Butts Jordan. No, Michael.
Well, you wish. Um, we want to talk about Juvie.
Juve.
Because it's topical, but we try not to talk too much about things that are extremely topical. But we wanted to talk about this one because it's about it leads into a lot of things that I know from my past that are pertinent. So when we talk about agency life and we talk about this specific product, it's also alcohol, and we seem to have a very big love affair with alcohol. I'm not drinking alcohol right now, but I wish I was. but
Liar.
um, uh, I mean, Sunday was Father's Day, so I decided to
Uh,
drink. But I decided to drink on my own because I had no kids. But that's another story. That's not important right now. So yeah, Jared, you kind of tell us what is the story behind Michael P. Jordan and Juve.
okay,
What is
well,
Juve?
what Juve is, I mean, it just so happened that the launch took place a couple of days ago.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened was Michael B. Jordan, actor best known for his role as Killmonger in Black Panther, he launched a product, a rum, and it's called Juve. Uh, it has several connotations, for want of a better word. It has a direct link to Trinidad and Tobago. He said as much, and we are pretty much up in arms. Most of us, especially on Twitter, for example, we are up in arms over what he did. In that we felt that some of us, most of us, felt that he was guilty of cultural appropriation. That he stole the name Juve. He because a lot of us tend to think that Juve is essentially a Trinidadian celebration, and when you really look at it, if you look at other say Franco-Caribbean territories like Martinique and Guadeloupe, they celebrate Carnival. They use
Mm-hmm.
the word Juve as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I could not understand why there was so much there's so much. I think there's a lot of animosity because again, there are a lot of people out there who feel that Juve is something that is essentially Trinidadian,
Mm-hmm.
and with a link to Carnival, we felt that the metaphorical rug, was pulled out from underneath us,
Mm-hmm.
and we want to file a lawsuit and see if we can get back our birthright or whatever it is. I think the rage that most of us have right now, I think it's misplaced. I think it's misguided, and I think it's impotent because what are we going to do about it? I think this is a golden opportunity for us. And this is just me talking. This is a hot take. I think it's a golden opportunity for us to really market ourselves as a tourist destination.
Yeah.
I mean, if we could, I mean, we have somebody with the kind of star power as Michael B. Jordan. If he can do that for us, and if we can market it effectively, I think it can ultimately pay off in ways that we can't even begin to imagine.
Yeah.
I think if you look at it from that perspective, instead of just going out there and just we run the risk of shooting ourselves in the foot if we did something like that. But that's just again, that's just my personal opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to read something that I saw one of my good friends, Ria Ali. Hello, Ria. Ria's out
Hi,
there.
Ria.
Ria. Um, Ria posted something from a guy named Mark Vijay yesterday, and I thought it was funny because you had messaged me right at the same time to say, let's talk about this, and this thing popped up. So I thought, yeah, this is perfect. So you need to listen to what this was. So
Okay.
it was a post on Facebook with the picture of Michael B. Jordan in front of the Juve logo. And we'll talk about this Juve logo. Amar Vijay says, this is the second country to get angry with Michael B. Jordan. The first was Wakanda. The second is also not a real place.
Oh my God! Oh, oh, oh boy!
All right, so
Oh,
those of you in the international scene listening to us, we consider ourselves not a real place. Trinidad is not a real place. Is a hashtag that has become, because just like any other country, it's like Florida Man. You can't
yeah,
just believe some of the stuff that we see people in Trinidad do. You know,
yeah.
it's like a big giant Walmart sometimes. You just kind of go, oh, yeah. Let me see. I had saved something else that was important. Let me see if I could find that. Where did I find those things? All right. So
Yeah.
essentially, what Michael B. Jordan has done is considered cultural appropriation. I do not agree with the idea of cultural appropriation. I don't think that is a real thing. I think way back, 2016, when I always tell the story when Nicki Minaj did her music video in Trinidad, because Nicki Minaj is Trinidadian. She's from St. James. You cannot get more Trinidad than Nicki Minaj. And she always says Trinidad is her place, and she bigs
Right.
up Trinidad all the time. And she's great with doing that. So when she wore the carnival costume, Twitter went crazy in 2016 and said, "Oh, she's appropriating um, Native American culture." And I was
Right.
like, huh? And so a woman from Trinidad who lives in the States, she wrote a blog and she was condemning these people trying to cancel Nicki Minaj for wearing a American Red Indian outfit. Because our carnival, part of our carnival, for those of you who don't know our carnival, part of our carnival is a lot of appropriation of other cultures. So we've got the African cultures, we've got the Indian culture, we've got the Native American culture. So the Native American feathers and headdress and so on are a major part of what we call carnival. It has become something a little bit more now. It's become what we call skimpy beads and feathers mass, which is Brazil mass. But
Beads, yeah.
but
So
before that, the idea of a man dressing as a red Indian, that was carnival. That is traditional mass. That's carnival mass. And Nicki Minaj dressing as this, American Indian, whatever, is not cultural appropriation. It is her culture. It's Trinidad culture. So this thing about Michael B. Jordan taking Juve and trademarking it, I mean, that's that's ludicrous in the sense that that is not cultural appropriation. That is well, I cannot find my saved stuff on this. Let me look on my thing. But I don't know what you think of that idea of cultural appropriation being part of the conversation. You know what I
But
mean?
the thing about it is we have been culturally appropriating words and phrases and certain types of dress for years.
Yeah,
And I don't remember anybody from the outside world um, getting their knickers in a knot over it. Uh, I don't know. I mean, and I think the problem as well stems from us
yeah,
because what we should have done and what we didn't do is that
yeah,
we've never, as Trinidadians, we've never really had a kind of love, if you will, for anything that is cultural.
yeah,
We we pay a lot of lip service to it. We say, oh yes, we love the steel pan and the tassa and the parang and so on and so forth. But do
yeah,
we have? I mean, just this earlier this week, there was an Australian kid show called High Five, where they were talking about the steel drum,
right.
and they said that it originated from Jamaica,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and that to me is far more outrageous than this guy promoting what is part and parcel of Trinidad Carnival. You
yeah,
can't have like some sort of exclusive copyright on the word carnival itself, because if we did, we'd be up in arms over Carnival Cruise Lines.
yeah, yeah.
And
Uh-huh.
yeah,
Go on.
so and we're also talking about there are other brand names throughout the Caribbean that are associated with Juve.
Mm,
If we were to say, okay, if we were to say, for example, and there was this guy who's an expert on I think, if I'm not mistaken, a guy by the name of Justin Koo. He was quite proficient in terms of explaining what it was all about.
mm,
In reality, if we were to say, okay, if the trademark is has been for one of a, has been verified, for one of a better word, in
mm.
the US, the only time there would be a problem is if there is another product closely associated with rum and it has something to do with Juve as well. Then we would have a problem.
Yeah,
But other than that, there's nothing really. It's just throw them in a teacup.
yeah. I want to read
So
something.
yeah,
I want to read something from a girl named Carla Paris, which is also shared by my friend Leah,
okay.
which is more specifically along the lines of what you're talking about. So we have not made an effort to trademark our culture. Now,
We
what
haven't.
does trademark mean? Trademark doesn't mean that it's ours and you can't take it and use it or whatever. Trademark is a little bit more. I'm not a lawyer. I mean, Nadia's still listening. Hi, Nadia, again. I see you coming back from your laptop. I also want to shout out to Asa Seeley, who's in Miami. Asa is a good friend of mine from the cruise. Asa is also into events and so on. So I'd like to hear what Asa has to say about Michael P. Jordan, B. Jordan. But I just want to read a little bit of what a girl named Carla Paris posted on Facebook. Um, she says, the business of our culture requires all of us to rise and pay urgent attention to intellectual property, not just to protect our globally recognizable creativity or innovation, but also, quite frankly, our self worth. So you see, people have been kicking up about, Juve is a real name and it's a real thing because the patent that was put says that it did not come from a real language. And that's what got people vexed. It's like, no, but it's a legalese term. It's legal.
Yes.
In other words, if it were a word from the Oxford English Dictionary, they would have to state that it came from the Oxford English Dictionary. So people don't know their head from their ass when it comes to trademark. But she goes on to say, um, I have been asked to share my view and have taken time to consider the matter from multifarious angles. I don't, is multifarious a word, Jared? Multifarious is a word.
I think it is. I believe it is. I'll have to consult Mr. Oxford with respect to that.
Mr.
particular
Oxford.
word.
Not
Yeah.
Mr. Webster, Mr. Oxford.
Oh, yeah, well, Oxford, Webster, tomato, doesn't really matter anymore. I mean,
No.
yeah.
However, please note that since I'm not privy to the particulars of the filing, this is not legal advice, but my personal view.
Yeah.
Trademark law at its root provides the owner of a brand with the exclusive rights for a period of time to use a brand name, slogan, or device on its goods and services. This distinguishes it from similar products or services on the market and provides consumers with clarity as to the origin of a product or service. It is important to understand a few elements of trademark law. One, registration is jurisdictional, which means that registration in one country does not give automatic rights in any other country, and registration in one country may not prevent usage of the mark in another country. So, in other words, we can still use Juve.
We can.
Promoters can use Juve. This is not the issue. The issue is not that he has taken it and used it, even though I would have loved for pet promoters to have to pay Michael B. Jordan some 50 cents. I mean, that would just be hilarious. But that's not what's going to happen, right? Protection is, so in other words, if we try to launch a rum, if a rum brand here tried to launch a rum called Juvie, that would be in contravention of the copyright of the trademark. Protection is specific only to the classes of goods and services represented in trademark application. Rum. There's a school of thought which states that since the trademark may have already been obtained, that the matter ought to be considered closed, since it does not affect our usage of the name and TNT or the part of Urban, obviously. I wish to highlight, however, the gravely important matter of the cultural appropriation, which we talked about, which is to me a non-issue. Right? So the point is, it's not about the trademark. It's about your soul. The soul of a country feels to be threatened. It seems to me that some man has just gone and said, I'm naming my rum Julie and I'm going to profit off of it. And we are upset about it. But like you said, I mean, somebody pointed out, I have news for you. You have Carnival Cruise Lines. So you can't say that somebody else is using your Carnival, you know? But I don't want to go read more about this. There's a whole set of stuff here about Kim Kardashian, whatever. I want to talk specifically more about, but before that, let me read some of the comments here. Nadia says multifarious means many of various types. So thank you, Nadia. And she says, Carl is a lawyer.
Thank you, Nadia.
Or whatever. Asa says they like to throw big words out because it's trendy. I don't know in reference to what that is, but okay. So most people think it's, somebody says, my pool says it's cultural appropriation. Somebody else says it's non-issue, and somebody else says it's nonsense. So it's evenly split so far between people's votes. Okay, so let me talk more about this rum Juvie. This rum Juvie is not just a rum; it's like a package kind of thing he launched. So you get the rum, wherever it's made. I don't know if it's Bacardi. I think it's making it. I think somebody in Cuba is making it, or it's a Florida rum, which is not a Trinidad rum, which is a totally different thing. I did a long course at Angostura for a whole day, and I learned a lot about rum from Angostura. And rum making is definitely, one of those art forms. I want to shout out to my friend Sarah Barth. Sarah is not a rum maker, but she's a cocoa person, and Sarah believes in the power of cocoa. She's completely mad about cocoa. But just like cocoa, rum making in Trinidad is an art form that is unique to us. Our rum is very unique. So on the first thing, Michael B. Jordan making rum is like a slap in the face to our local rum producers. Why didn't you come to Trinidad, get Trinidadians, get Angostura to make the rum? Because in the package is Angostura orange bitters and Angostura bitters, because he's making a cocktail out of it. He's calling it Juve is like part of the cocktail, or he's making a cocktail out of it. So questions are, how did Angostura get involved in this? Well, I'll give you a little secret. Because when it was at the agency, Angostura was our client. Angostura has different offices around the world that all do their own marketing. And they do not take the marketing from the Angostura head office. US Angostura does its own thing, separate and apart from Angostura Trinidad. And in fact, orange bitters did not come from Trinidad. It came from Australia. The Australians created their own flavor of Angostura bitters. They marketed their way. Lemon, lime, and bitters actually came from Australia too. So we adapted a lot of our things from the other markets, even though it's Angostura, and we only trademark of Angostura bitters, and that's the secret of whatever. The United States and the other European and wherever they sell or they distribute Angostura rums and Angostura bitters. Those markets do their own thing and is not beholden to the local. It's not beholden to Trinidad. Other than the fact that they pay the royalties or whatever, it's back to the, whatever that situation is there. But again, Michael B. Jordan and his guy could have gone direct to Angostura in the United States and here we want to use Angostura bitters in this product. And they'd say, yeah, sure, no problem. That has nothing to do with us. Absolutely nothing. We were probably it was probably an email. Hey, by the way, this rum has Angostura bitters in it, in case you want to know. Just so you know, because my experience with Angostura bitters has always been that hey, we're gonna launch lemon lime and bitters. Where lemon lime and bitters come from? Australia. You serious? Very serious. So I mean, it was kind of disturbing, but at the same time, you understand it. This is how it's been set up,
Yeah.
But our rums, the rums that we make here are exported. So the rums that we make here are known worldwide. They're just branded differently. So 1824 is sold abroad, but there are other rums that are sold abroad that we don't sell here. You would never sell white oak abroad. You'd never sell black label abroad. But they create a different type of white rum that they then sell. I think it's called premium white or something else. I mean, you could get it on Angostura website. But again, coming back to Michael B. Jordan, all props to Mikey. Mikey, you and your guys, I think if you want to do it, absolutely, I give you full 100% support because I think you're doing something that we never thought of. That's great because in advertising, you see what the competition does and you go, crap, I wish I had thought of that. That's a famous statement of when you work in advertising.
That always happens. Always happens.
Can you think of a time that you saw something that you wished, oh my gosh, I wish I had thought of that? It doesn't have to be local. It could be anything.
Oh, there have been numerous occasions that I have looked at particular ad campaigns and I've had to ask myself, wow, or rather, I would berate myself and then I would go, I wish to God I had thought of something that good. None springs to mind at the moment. But what I have to say is this. I mean, we have such a rich, diverse vocabulary. And this goes beyond culture now.
Mm-hmm.
But we have such a rich and diverse vocabulary in terms of what we say. And I think the fault is ours that we would take particular phrases and words that we know and that are indigenous to us.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, Zabuka. Now, you and I both.
Okay, so somebody from the United States just went, what?
What's a Zabuka, right? Nobody knows what the hell a Zabuka is.
What?
We do. We know.
What is Zabuka, John?
And it's an avocado, but that's not important right now.
That's not important right now.
What's the important thing is that now we've become so stush and so quote unquote upwardly mobile in the world that we do not want to call it Zabuka anymore. It's avocado. And then somebody will come along, whether you're a Yank, a Brit.
Yeah, but hold on, John. Hold on. I never knew this avocado as avocado. I never knew it
No, but if you take
as avocado or avocado. I used to know it as pear. They used to call it pear. At least
really,
that's yeah. So when I was growing up, people used to be calling it pear. And then I heard about Zabuka because my dad started to talk about it as Zabuka. Um, but I mean, pear is what I've been. At least it used to be called local pear. You used to say, "I'm a local pear for sale," and those squeeze. Local pear is not breast. Don't squeeze it.
just, you just had to include it. You just had to include your breast fetish. Huh? Oh my god. Anyway, I shouldn't be talking.
You
I
shouldn't
should.
talk Kettle calling the pot black. We should call this episode
I
Kettle
should
calling
not.
the pot black.
No, no, not gonna go there. Not gonna go there. Yeah,
Ah,
but
yeah,
no,
so
I
go
mean
on.
that's
So
the
it's
point.
avocado versus Zabucar.
No,
Zabucar.
suppose okay. Let's just say somebody comes along, right? Somebody comes along, and let's say the person has $1 million company, and let's say he's in the same vein as somebody like a Steve Jobs or an Elon Musk,
Mm-hmm.
and he decides to call the company Zabuka
Mm-hmm.
just for the hell of it, calls it that,
Mm-hmm.
and we're like, and then the fake outrage starts. Well, how dare he take that? Well, yeah, but we didn't own it.
Yeah.
We didn't
You didn't
claim
do
it.
anything with it. You didn't do anything with it. You didn't call any company by that name. No, it's true.
Not call it by that name. If I were to go right now, if somebody else rather were to go right now and come up with a production company and call it Zabuka,
Mm-hmm.
we'd be up in arms. But
Mm-hmm.
again, it is just that we cannot see. We're so suffering from this kind of myopia, this kind of nearsightedness, where we just don't want to take what we have and own it and claim it as ours because we think that it makes us, I don't know, it's like we refuse to own it,
Yeah.
and we do not love what we have. We do not know what our self-worth is,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the problem that I have with somebody, with people who say, "Oh, yeah, but we didn't think about it. We didn't think about it before. We should have, but we
So,
didn't."
all right, hold on, John. Hold on. We're smart people, right? I mean, we're
Well, we
generally known as smart
but
men, but we're
yeah.
smart people. But I think, honestly, I don't think anybody has not thought about it. I mean, look at Pan Trinbago, the people who are supposed to be the gatekeepers of Pan. Okay, right
Right.
now, Pan is one of the major things in Japan. How did Japan suddenly become this mecca for Pan? Now we've in the ensuing years we've owned it, and a lot of Japanese come down here, and that poor girl who unfortunately met a bad end during Carnival that was
Yes.
a couple of years ago.
Yes.
Forgot her name. Sorry. It was Japanese because she loved playing pan. These people love playing pan. By extension, they love soccer. I mean, Japanese people, you're big in Japan, right?
Yeah.
That's what they say.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
mean, Pan Trinbago has been criticized for not trademarking the name or not trying to make Pan more owned by Trinidad. But they have done. I'm pretty sure somebody in there said, "Well, let's trademark the name," and then somehow it gets stuck in some kind of political mire, and it just gets
And that's what
away.
happens most of the time. And that's what happens most of the time with what we do.
Yeah.
That is something that we don't look at it. We don't see the potential for making a lot of money, because everything that we've ever done in the past always begins with oil and it ends with gas.
Yeah.
But we
Not
we do
anymore. We no longer. We no
more.
longer. in that.
We've got to come up with a way to make it profitable. And
Yeah.
I can't think of anything more profitable than what we have in terms of, not just in terms of our culture, but in terms of our language as well. And yeah, I
Yeah.
think what we should have done, we should have gone to Michael B. Jordan. We should have said, "Hey, how would you like to be a cultural ambassador to Trinidad and Tobago?"
Yeah.
I still,
But you know who is a very big cultural ambassador to Trinidad and Tobago? Winston Duke. Winston Duke does
right?
more for Trinidad and Tobago, and he was in Black Panther, and he's this big. He is always, if you follow him on
Point taken.
Instagram, he has always said that he loves his country. Yes, the United States is where he got, and unfortunately, this is how it works, and you've said it many times, and I've said it many times, that the only way to get recognized is you leave here and go somewhere else. So, I mean, that's not important right now. What's important is that people like Winston Duke should jump into the fray and say, this is my place, this is my country. I love this rum, whatever. He and Michael Jordan, whatever. There are opportunities, of course, for us to do things. But do you know that we have an entire company called Creative TT that is designed and built to do this? You know that, right?
I do know that, yeah. I do.
And we've heard nothing from them. And this is what pisses me off.
No, I mean, are they just there doing their impression of potting soil? Are they just there gathering dust? I mean, what is it that they do? We have no earthly idea as to what they do, what they're about, what their modus operandi is. We don't know. I mean, they can tell us, I'm sure. I'm sure they'll issue a statement, but they haven't done anything. Because
I doubt I'll see a statement.
Mesh in the politics of the day. And I'm not just talking about party politics, but politics, period, workplace politics, corporate politics, the whole shebang.
Okay, so my friend Roger, who works at the Creative, what do you call it? University of West Indies Creative Arts Center. He's a teacher there. Roger says someone may have had the idea, but Michael B. Jordan had the idea and funding. So that's also important. He also had the money to do. So we may have great ideas. We may have a great idea to start a company called Zabucaro. We just don't have the funding to do it. So that's another issue.
Do. It's not the funding to do that.
Yeah,
and that's something that we should think about as well.
Yeah. So
the more the powers that be involved.
All right, so I don't want to get mad and complaining about the government because that's so easy to do. That's low hanging fruit.
That's a low hanging fruit. Yeah. I mean, what about corporate Trinidad and Tobago? That is what I'm like.
Angostura. I know. Mrs. Giselle West, who used to work at Angostura. She was a big advocate of trying. You remember years ago, there's a town in the United States that shoots Angostura bitters. You know about that, right?
I do know about that, yeah.
Right. And when that article broke, somebody shared it on Facebook. She went hell hard and tried to get in touch with those people in the town, to the mayor, whoever, to give them free Angostura bitters if they would promote it. You see? And I think that is trying to get on the train. The train may not last very long. Things like that don't last very long. But eventually what you do is you try very hard to take it. Now, Michael B. Jordan's business business partner is a Trini, or at least this guy who's in charge is a Trini. So we're waiting to see the other shoe drop. I'm pretty sure they're going to start doing something. I think this is all a ploy. It was a social media gambit to get the noise out there. And the diaspora has responded. You see, the Twitterverse is very much the Trinidadian diaspora. They're all on Twitter. So all the New Yorkers, hello, Avalon. Hi, Avalon. Avalon Hills from New York, from Flatbush. No, she's not a Flatbush. She go, how dare you? No, I don't know where Avalon is. But Avalon is one of those who's very, very vociferous on social media about being Trini. You're living in the cold, but you're a Trini, right? So if somebody say thing bad about Trini online, you're gone and you're doing I'm going to make noise, right? Don't mind, you don't even know what's going on in the country. you just going and canceling everybody. I cancel Michael B. Jordan because he's disrespecting my country, But that's the thing. The thing is, I think that was part of their marketing plan and their marketing ploy. Or at least somebody has mentioned it. That's how they're going to get traction in the beginning. The social media frenzy. The water starts stirring up with the sharks that come out,
certainly succeeded. They certainly succeeded in that kind of thing. They
Yeah,
certainly succeeded. I mean, if there's one thing that's worse than being talked about, it's not being talked about. And I
exactly.
think, in that sense, what Michael B. Jordan did was a stroke of marketing genius, because whether you like the man or not, people are talking about his product.
Yeah,
And again, the potential for marketing in terms of showcasing the product. The product is now inextricably linked to these two islands, Trinidad and Tobago. People are going to look at that and they're going to say, "Well, where is Trinidad and Tobago?" They're going to wonder what, and they want to find out more about the place.
yeah.
And
You
that can,
remember you remember when we won
yeah,
against Bahrain in the World Cup? You remember that? Where were you when
what's
that happened?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember that. I remember that. That was it was pure bedlam, as I recall.
But
And
you remember what happened after? We were the commentators. Commentators were, who are these people?
yeah,
Where did these people come from? I remember when the World Cup had started, because the Bahrain game was like a year before, right? I think it was about,
that was in
oh,
2005,
yeah,
November 2005. Yeah,
right. And then World Cup was in 2006. And the commentators were like, what are these SoCal warriors? And they couldn't figure it out,
they had no,
And,
what are these warriors? Are they from Southern California or something? I mean, yeah,
and I think we did a lot of promoting of ourselves. I think at the time it was Tidco. Tidco is the tourism board, the company that they put in charge of running marketing for tourism. We talk about Tidco in a little bit, but
yeah,
Tidco made a lot of efforts, and I have to give them kudos. They did a lot of promoting that year between the time we won against Bahrain and the World Cup. They did a lot of things in Germany. A lot of Germans came to Trinidad after. A lot of Germans. Don't mind you, a lot of Germans had already been coming to Tobago and buying up. I don't even know if Tobago is still Tobago. I think Tobago is half owned by Germans
uh,
because that was
little,
happening in the 90s.
yeah,
But anyway, so so Tidco is was, because it's no longer Tidco. They broke up that company and created two companies now called, was it the Trinidad Tourism Board? I think it's called
Trinidad Tourism. I think there was one called the Tobago Tourism Board,
yeah.
if memory serves
So
me right.
now
But
now, now
I
they com- they now they
thought
compete
that
against each
was,
other, which is good.
yeah, they're not competing. It was just a wild kind of exercise that they just did there, and I could never understand why they would do that in the first place. But
Yeah,
hey, you know what? Who am I to question the vagaries of how things
yeah,
operate
yeah.
here?
So my experience with Tidco, because Tidco was a client of the agency, was that every year during July, August, around this time, there would be big, exhibitions. I mean, we talk about spending money. The money spent to promote Trinidad and Tobago at these international conventions, these travel conventions and cruise ship conventions. Every year there would be another convention in another big city for all the countries of the world to come and showcase themselves. Um, a lot of the time we had to create these big booths, and we, the agency, were tasked with designing the booths. And one of the guys who used to work with us, Adrian Chandler was the king of designing these booths. So I want to shout out to Adrian. Adrian was one of my mentors, and Adrian used to have to go to some of these countries to help set up these booths. So in those days, you're sending the graphic artists to do the work. And
Yeah,
I had to tell this story recently because it was in relation to a software problem somebody was having. So the story is that, as far as I remember it, is that Adrian had to fly to Germany because there was this big convention in Germany. This is in 2001, 2002, around there. Adrian had to go to Germany because the artwork that was created to create the booth, they couldn't open it on their computers. So Adrian had to fly from Trinidad to Germany to open the artwork to print it. Now, that is an insane. You couldn't even consider doing that these days because those things don't happen anymore, right? You would fly a man from Trinidad to Germany just to open artwork. Okay, one time. That's crazy. Second of all, Adrian is calling back to the agency, and I'm taking the call. Adrian is calling because I know how to use the software that they're using in Germany. Um, Ian, help me. I do not know the software. Can you please go on the computer on your side and pull down the menus and translate because it's in German? Translate what the menus are in English. So I'm there, okay, file. What is file? File. What is new? What is new? He's going in German and he's going literally line by line, and we're both learning German as we go along.
Hey, why not? Yeah, crash course and everything.
You
Yeah.
know, I mean,
Yeah.
eventually, he got it and he figured it out and he figured out what to do. I mean, they just left and said, okay, it's 2 o'clock in the morning here in Germany. It's what 9 o'clock in the morning in Trinidad or whatever it is. 5-6 hours different, 7 hours different.
It's
And,
6 hour difference.
and that is when we used to promote Trinidad and Tobago from Tidco. We used to do these things. These were the kind of things that Tidco used to do in its heyday. We had these big Discover Trinidad and Tobago campaigns. We had a beautiful logo designed called Fun and Sun. We called it Fun and Sun logo. I think you could still see it on the way to Maracas. If you Google Fun and Sun, I think you might still be able to find it. I mean, that was a beautiful logo. I don't know, or I can't remember who designed the logo. Somebody could remind me, who did it. But I always thought it was a fantastic representation of who Trinidad and Tobago is. Well, mostly Tobago, not Trinidad, because of beaches and so on. And, it was this thing. But we no longer have that. I don't know what the tourism of Trinidad and Tobago thing looks like. I don't know what it looks like. I mean,
I think that's another thing too. I mean, we don't have that kind of, there's not much of an awareness that's taking place. I think now we've come to a point where everything is in a state of flux.
Yeah.
And we're trying to figure out, well, what do we do? What do we do now? How do we market ourselves now that the oil well has literally run dry? What are we going to do in terms of making ourselves more accessible to the outside world?
Yeah.
What do we do? How do we go about doing it?
Yeah.
And how do we come up with a way to effectively market ourselves? We need to learn. We need to see what we get, how the other Caribbean territories are faring. We need to know how tourism titans like Barbados and Jamaica, what is the secret of their success, and see if we can somehow duplicate it.
We've been doing that for less than 40 years.
And I know we've been doing it. I know we've been doing it for 40 years, but obviously there's something about it that we're doing that it just isn't right, and we're not doing it right.
I think for a very short period of time we were doing it right, where we were pushing ecotourism. Coming here. I remember going to Tobago and meeting. They weren't German. I think they were Austrian. They were from Europe. And we met them at a restaurant that we were in, and we just started chatting. And I said, "Well, how did you choose Tobago?" And he said, "We literally went into the they made it their business to try to find a new place to go every year, and they went into the travel agency, and they said, we want a place that has bird watching because they're bird watchers that we've never been to. And the guy said, well, there's this place called Tobago. And they said, okay, we'll go. And that was it. So all of those things have to go into a line to get to the point where they bought the ticket and reached here, you see? So that from consideration to execution to to being here and then recommending to other people is a long process. So one tourist, to get one tourist or one family, is the investment in that is very, very large. You have to understand the process, you know. But I mean, we could do it. Of course, we can do it. Our friend Rada says we could try to first develop some manners and good customer service habits.
Well,
Um,
that is an
uh,
entirely different topic right
but
there.
that's not important right now.
That's not important right
So
now.
to wheel back a little bit to Michael B. Jordan, we're
Right.
coming up onto the hour mark here. And we don't really want to spend too much more time on this, but we talked about the Fun and Sun logo for Titco. Michael B. Jordan's logo sucks. I'm sorry, it sucks. It looks like some kind of strange bird. I don't know what it is. And the Juve typeface. Ugh, that's just
Yeah.
something there.
I'm not too much in love with the font myself, I have to tell
Yeah,
you.
it's there. It's not representative. I mean, it's very what's the word? It's very contemporary in the sense of this is
Generic?
not no, not generic. It's in the style of what you call it? Not contemporary. Contemporary is not the word I'm looking for. Corporate is not the word I'm looking for either. It gives you that feeling of a premium. It's a premium feeling, right? It's not down market, because the way you do. So if you look at runs that are like Black Label rum, it's kind of a down market rum because of the way it looks on the label. This logo is very. It's not. It's not. It's upper end. So it's trying to give you that feel upper end, but at the same time fun with the colors of the fronds and stuff. I mean, if you go and search it, you'll see what it looks like. But
Yeah.
um, it's just for me as a designer, I'm just like, oh, God, could you have been less generic? It's true. It does look generic. I mean, people also have issues with the design of it. Um, but but that's not important right now. So
No,
we
it's
want
not.
to wrap this thing up a little bit. John,
Okay.
you want to say anything else? You want to comment
No,
on
I
anything else?
don't want to add anything. I don't want to add anything further to it. I'm just saying that this could potentially be a lucrative marketing opportunity
Yeah,
if we play our cards right, and this could set the stage for something for all sorts of business opportunities, and maybe it might even help in terms of boosting our economy.
yeah,
That's how I see it. I think
yeah,
it's a like I said, potentially it is extremely lucrative, and I think if we were to continue to complain about what Jordan is doing,
yeah. We should embrace
we
it.
run the risk of sorry.
We should embrace it. We should say
Yeah, we should embrace.
thanks.
We've got to embrace. I have no problem with it. I've got no problem with what he's trying to do. So let's embrace it. Let's see what we can do, and let's see how we can use it to our advantage instead of just going on our metaphorical high horse and saying, "How dare you?"
Yeah, yeah. I
It's
mean,
just
that's the emotional response. So I
very.
did a little poll. I did a
No
little
reason to be.
poll. Uh-huh. Go on.
No, I'm just saying. There's no reason. There's no reason for us to be really emotional about it.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Let's see what we yeah. So let's see what we can do to make it profitable to our end. You
Yeah.
know.
So I did a little Facebook poll while we were talking. I
Yeah.
asked people to vote. It was just a quick thing. I didn't even think about the answers. What do you think about Michael B. Jordan's rum launch? And I had it's
Okay.
nonsense, it's funny, it's a non-issue, it's cultural appropriation. And
Right.
50% of the people responded. Um, that's three people who responded, said it's a non-issue. Everybody else said it's nonsense, it's funny, it's cultural appropriation. So we had one, two, three. We had six people voting, and out of the six people, three said it's a non-issue. So I think generally the people who follow us and who are friends with us,
Yeah.
they feel it's a non-issue. So I agree. Um,
So do I. So do I.
so just to those who are listening on the Facebook Live, we're gonna try this again next time.
We
What
are.
I want to do next time is want to try to bring somebody in because we have a lot of things to talk about that we have in a list. This one came up thrown in there because of the nature of the story. So he was like,
Yeah.
yeah, let's talk about this one. But we have lots of requests to do a lot of things, and we would love you all to give us more requests. So please follow us on Spotify. This is going up on Spotify hopefully by tomorrow. Please follow us on Twitter. Your handle is,
Jared Butts, one word.
and
Jared,
I am not very active on Twitter, but you can follow me. I have a Facebook page, Redesigns at PRO. I do not take friend requests on my private profile, but if you want to follow me on my private profile, Redesigns. We also we're also on Apple Podcasts, so please, give us a sub. And please, if you need to send us a suggestion, please email us at ian@redesigns.pro, and Jared, was it?
One word on Twitter.
Jared,
follow you back.
Yeah, but on email, you're what? What's your email?
Oh, yeah. And of course, I'm also on Instagram and Platinum Hits 103.5 FM, where I do the morning show there. Yeah.
I enjoyed the music this morning.
Did you? Really?
Yeah. Well, today is 80s Day, so it's a nice change from the modern stuff. You like to get a little change.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's it. I think we could call this a session. I don't know what we're going to call it yet, but let's just end with
Diaries.
What is a Michael B. Jordan?
What's a Michael B. Jordan? Well, he's a famous basketball player. No.
Oh my God! Okay, reload. What is a Michael B. Jordan?
Michael B. Jordan. Michael B. Jordan is an actor who managed to piss off a lot of Trinidadians, but that's not important right now.
That's not important right now. Thank you very much for listening. We'll catch you on the flip side. Thanks, Jared.
All right. Thanks, Ian.